And welcome everybody, it's Dan, we're live. I hope you're well. So we're going to talk about cryptocurrency today. So welcome to the crypto show. It's not often we do a lot of crypto shows, but I kind of like we should really jump on that bandwagon. Everyone else is talking about crypto. Why the hell aren't we? We are invested in crypto and we have been for quite some time. In fact, I remember going to Waterstones back in 2017. I'm sure it was 2017. And I went up to the lady and I said, have you got any books on Bitcoin? And she's like, I'm sorry, what? And I said, Bitcoin, it's a cryptocurrency. She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, well, it's a digital currency. Have you not heard of it? Obviously, nobody had really heard of it back then. So I went upstairs to Waterstones and I bought the entirety of the books on cryptocurrency. Everything that they had, which was a grand total of, I think, 3 books. So I bought all of them. And the mistake I made, obviously, was buying books on cryptocurrency when actually I should have bought some bloody cryptocurrency. But here we are, 2021, almost 2022, and obviously cryptocurrency is the talk of the town. So the thing I want to talk about today, we're going to talk about Shiba Inu, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, and we're going to talk about whether you should be buying those things right now or not. But just before we get into that, I actually want to cover talking about where do you think we're going to be in 10 years' time? So imagine it is now, 2031. It doesn't even have to be that far ahead. It could be just 5 years into the future. But let's go with 10 years into the future. Let's pretend we're coming up to Christmas, 2031. And as you look back over the last 10 years, what do you think has happened? And so this is kind of a crystal ball type synopsis that I'm always looking at. Where's property going to be in 10 years? Where are rents going to be in 10 years? Where's cryptocurrency going to be in 10 years? Heck, where's the UK going to be in 10 years? Is it going to be a third world plague island like it is today? Who on earth knows? But with cryptocurrency, if you were 10 years or 5 years into the future and you look back at now, would you say to yourself, oh, it was so obvious what was going to happen? When we look at Amazon today, is it obvious about what was happening with Amazon going back over the last 10 years? And I would like to think, yes, it is pretty obvious. When you look at Elon, what's his business called? Tesla. When you look at Tesla, and I bought into Tesla through my SIP, which means all my gains are tax-free, of course. But when I bought into Tesla, which is quite some time ago, in fact, I was going to log on, but my shares have gone up like 1,500%. But when we look back at Tesla over the last 5 or 10 years, was it obvious where Tesla was going? And I think that the answer was yes, just as it is for Amazon. I think it's the same for Tesla. So what do we think is going to happen with Bitcoin, and what do we think is going to happen with other cryptocurrencies? So obviously there's some bad stuff on cryptocurrencies. There is what was the latest one? What's that program called on Netflix that everybody's raving about but I've not seen yet? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it went big market cap and it just dropped right down to zero. What's the program called? Everyone's wearing red uniforms. Anyway, whatever it's called. So are there inherent risks on what we call shit coins? Yes, absolutely. But are there also opportunities available to be taken advantage of? And I would say yes. And so we're going to give you a couple of resources that you can take a look at just to help you. So the first one that I want you to look at is something called glassnode.com. And on glassnode.com, you have some market indicators and it talks about Bitcoin. And what's interesting about this is that it gives you a look back at where sentiment effectively was for things like Bitcoin. So if you go and have a look at this, it's on glassnode.com. What's it called? There's a certain bit on here. Anyway, you'll have to do your own research, of course. But this is a market indicator, and it's called net unrealized profit and loss. And it only does it for Bitcoin. But when you see the net unrealized profit or loss, when you see it dip, you can see the prices have dipped and you can see that it's going to bounce back. I mean, it's so obvious that it's going to bounce back. So that's one resource that we look at. I've got Bitcoin, again, that's wrapped up into a SIP. We were really clever a couple of years ago. It's not often we're very clever, but sometimes when we are, it's a touch of genius, and so we get away with it. But the cleverness a couple of years ago was to buy I don't think it was actually an ETF, but it was through Hargreaves Lansdown, and it enabled me to buy Bitcoin via my SIP. And the whole advantage of that, of course, is that any gains, and bear in mind we were buying Bitcoin when it was £10,000 and it's now $10,000 and it's now $60,000. But any gains are actually tax free. The downside is I can't physically get hold of that money till at least I'm 55, and also there's some pension rules about how much I can take out and so on. But at least it's tax free when I do take those gains. And so this is a SIP. There is an ETF that you can actually invest in now. You can probably get it through your. There's a fly. Why is there a fly? I'm live. There is actually an ETF that you can probably get through your SIP. And more importantly, why is the fly buzzing around me? Bitcoin, where do you think it's going to be in a year's time? Where do you think it's going to be in 5 years' time? Where do you think it's going to be in 10 years' time? And when you look back at now, are you going to look back and go, oh my goodness me, it was so obvious when Bitcoin goes to £200,000, £400,000, £800,000? And is it actually going to go to those numbers? I mean, I have no idea. I have no crystal ball. I have absolutely no idea. I know what I think, and what I think, and this is not financial advice, is I think it's going to go up and up again and up again. And the reason I think that is that we are right at the start of this bell curve. If you look at a bell curve, anybody who's got any kind of cryptocurrency, bear in mind that out of all my friends and contacts, I know very few people who actually own a significant amount of Bitcoin. I don't know anybody who's got more Bitcoin than me. There must be people out there that just keep it quiet. And I don't even have that much Bitcoin, right? And these stories that you hear about people, 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas, that would be worth 600 million or 6 billion or whatever it's going to be worth in 2021. Those stories at best are apocryphal. They are made up because nobody who had 10,000 Bitcoins back in 2011 has kept them till 2021. You were getting £1,000 for Bitcoin. You were selling all 10,000 of those Bitcoins. Trust me when I say this. This is what people will have been doing. And so, was that you? Did you have a lot of Bitcoin back then? Certainly, I didn't. And looking back, I really wish I did. I saw something on Instagram earlier this morning, and it was one of the very first mentions of Bitcoin on a TV series. And it's got the guy out of American Pie, the main guy with his dad, who's really cool. I've forgotten his name. Jim. Got Jim from American Pie, and he's in some TV series. And a woman says to him, I just bought Bitcoin, and it was $7 at the time. And she bought one. And I'm like, she'd have kept hold of that. But of course, people don't keep hold of this stuff. It goes up, and from $7, it's worth 1,000. So they sell it, and they're very happy. So certainly from a cryptocurrency, if you're going to go and invest in cryptocurrency, you need to invest on money that if it goes to zero, like the other one of that popular TV program that everyone's talking about on Netflix, whatever it's called, that one has, which was a complete shit coin. It was a meme coin. But that's not to say all meme coins like Shiba Inu is going to go to zero. So I bought into Shiba Inu when it was 0.000008. And I wouldn't have said that we bought a huge amount, but obviously we've had significant increases on that. But just looking at the price on Shiba Inu right now, and by the way, one of the other resources that we look at on this is we look at Coinbase Pro. So if you want to get into cryptocurrency and you want to buy some cryptocurrency really easily, you can go to coinbase.com. They will do it. If you want some graphs and that kind of thing, Coinbase Pro will give you some graphs and that kind of thing. But Shiba Inu right now is, what is it? It's about 4 zeros and 58. So no, it's not. 4 zeros and 45. And so when we bought in really low. We actually sold, and then we bought back in lower, and it's actually dipped again. Where is Shiba Inu going to be in a month's time, in a week's time, tomorrow, in a year's time? Is it going to be down at zero? Is it going to be, well, it can't be less than zero, but where's it going to be? Who on earth knows? But what I do know is this. If you're not in on this and it goes all the way to the moon, and you put $200 in and you lose $200 because it doesn't go to the moon, it goes to zero, all you've lost is zero. It's $200. But if it does go up and it becomes, I don't think it'll become a cent, but if it comes 0.0001, so a tenth of a cent, you're going to make some decent money on that. And so this is the differentiator for me, and this is one of the reasons I really struggle buying cryptocurrency. First of all, it's gambling. Now, let's not mix our words here. 100% it's gambling. Is it going to go to the moon? Is it going to drop to zero? I have no idea. You have no idea. Lots of people have lots of ideas. Nobody actually knows. So it might go down to zero. I don't think it will. Something like Shiba Inu, the way that it's had so many people buying it, and like Ethereum and Cardano and even Litecoin and Bitcoin, of course, because it's had so much press, I just don't think that's going to happen, because as soon as it drops, people are going to start buying. Like right now, it's dropping, and this is the if you do a Fibonacci retracement, just to get a little bit technical on these, you'll probably see it's hitting some numbers on a Fibonacci retracement, and it pulls back and then it takes off again. Now, I don't know if Shiba Inu is going to do that. I just don't know what it's going to do. But what I do know is that if I'm not in on this, if I'm not in the market in any way, shape, or form, I cannot take advantage of it going up. Now, can you put too much money into it? Maybe. But the people who are saying you've put too much money in is like after the event, once it drops. But even once it drops, you know, we had Bitcoin, it went up to $20,000. Did it go like down to $5,000? And everyone's going, look, it's dropped. And then look where it is now, $60,000. It's a huge amount. Let's have a look on Coinbase and see where it's at for Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin, 61,000. It did go to $66,000. It's got a 1.2 trillion market cap, and that's much higher than it was before. And Shiba Inu's got a market cap of 25 billion. Dogecoin's got 34 billion. Like, what do you buy into? Polkadot's enjoying some gains, and so Solana is enjoying some gains. What are you buying into? And this is the thing, folks. I see people and they're putting like £100 into Bitcoin, and it's like, dude, what do you think is going to happen to Bitcoin? Do you think that's going to double? Like, it might do, by the way. But even if it does double and you've only put £100 in, you made 200. You made £100. You got £200. Like, whoopee-doo. Like, it's not life-changing enough. And so I must admit, my own personality, and by the way, I enjoy risk. I like taking risks with money. We've done very well taking risks with money. I believe that if you've just got a job, you are highly at risk of losing all your money, because you lose your job, you lose all your money, right? I like to have multiple streams of income, and certainly we've held back on cryptocurrency. And just recently, especially with Shiba Inu, we put some, thousands of pounds, not necessarily tens of thousands of pounds, but we put some decent cash in there, and we've had the gains from that, and then we sold it at a profit, right? Tax to pay on those. But nobody knows what's going on. And so, look, if you're in debt and you've got debt to pay down, and this is not financial advice, by the way, because I'm not allowed to give it, but for me, I would be paying down my debt. Paying down your debt is more important than putting £10,000 on a coin that may do well. Now, I'm not also saying that you shouldn't put anything on. You want to put £100 on, £200, £300, I think that's great. And we have this fear of missing out. And what I mean by that is that people go, no, I'm going to, instead of making these debt repayments, I'm going to put it onto something else. And it's like, are you sure you want to do that? Because in 5 years' time, we're still going to have this situation where people or coins are going to be available for you to put money on. So why are you risking it? There's always going to be opportunities. In 20 years' time, in 50 years' time, in 100 years' time, in 1,000 years' time, I think we'll all be dead by then. But there will be opportunities for something or other. Now, having said all of that, I actually do believe that we are in a very unique point in history, especially in the UK. Well, I mean, anywhere, but the UK especially, because one, we got a pandemic. Everybody's got a pandemic. But two, we got Brexit. Not many people can say that. Three, I think we've probably got the worst government in history that just lies for a living and gets away with it and actually goes up in the popularity stakes. It's just bizarre. We're living in this very unique situation in time. And I think that, for me, we're using money that's spare. In fact, when we bought Shiba Inu and it went up and we sold it, we put the money that we put into it, we took that money out and put that back into the bank. The rest of the money that's left in there is all the house's money. So it's not my money, it's Shiba Inu's money. because we're investing using the gains, and we took those original gains back out, put it back into the bank. So I want to be in this. And if we lose it all, it goes back to zero. I've actually not moved forward, and I've not moved backwards either. So it actually doesn't make much of a difference. But in a year's time, if Shiba Inu goes to 0.005, I mean, that is life-changing money. Even for us who's got millions of pounds invested in mortgages and debt and properties, this is still life-changing. And so we don't want to miss that opportunity. Now, could it all go right back down to zero? Hell yeah. Like, anything could happen. Aliens could land. And by the way, if aliens land, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's all going to go up. Any major catastrophe, I think cryptocurrency is going to be on the up, because people are going to need somewhere to put their money. Obviously, if just over the weekend, in fact, there was a large prominence that hit the earth, and so there was Aurora Borealis in the north of England because of the magnetic fields had been changed. And so there was a massive event called the Wellington event, I think it was called, back in 1856 or 57. And all the telegraph poles went down, and all the electronic stuff went off. All the Marconi, what do we call it, Morse code machines went down, and so on. So if that happens, you haven't got access to cryptocurrency. So what's going to happen then? Maybe gold might take a comeback. But if it's not as severe as that, and aliens just land, or there's another pandemic and the zombie apocalypse is upon us, where do you think people are going to put the money? They're going to put it somewhere, and I think it's going to be cryptocurrency. Look at Venezuela and look at some of these other countries that are moving from fiat currency, like pounds and dollars or whatever currency they had, and then moving it over to some form of cryptocurrency. I think we're in the very start of this bell curve, and I think if you've got enough cash where you can actually take some money and you can put it into something so that you give yourself an opportunity to take advantage should the markets take off. But also that if the markets don't take off and it goes to zero, you're not risking your current livelihood. I think you should do it. And when I say I think you should do it, I mean I think I should do it, because it's not financial advice. I can't give financial advice. This is really important, I think. We're in this unique period of time, and I haven't got the answers. I haven't got a crystal ball. I've definitely not got a time machine. I wish I had. I would have bought a lot of Bitcoin, but I haven't. I would have bought a lot of SHIB back in January. If you'd have put £1,000 in Shiba Inu in January, you'd be we'd be having this conversation on my space rocket next to Jeff Bezos going up. And by the way, if I had a couple of billion, do you think I'd be on a penis-shaped space rocket? Of course I would. Straight out of Austin Powers. So, these opportunities are here. And do you want to look back in 10 years' time and go, I missed that opportunity? I don't know. It depends where you are. If you've got debt, if you've got bailiffs, if you've got, if you're struggling for food, if you haven't got a job, who on earth knows? But I like to put myself into a position where good things can happen. That's not to say good things will happen, but I like the opportunity to move myself into position to take advantage of any movements that are about to take place. And if that happens to be on cryptocurrency, then so be it. Anyway, I just wanted to cover that. We've not really talked about cryptocurrency a lot, but I thought it would be useful just to cover some of it and what we're doing and what we're looking at and that kind of thing. As ever, it is an unfolding story as to where we are with cryptocurrency. As I'm speaking right now, Shiba Inu is on its way down at 4 zeros and 44, almost 45. That's on a one-day chart. Is it a Fibonacci retracement? I can't see on here. One of the things I need to do next for me is move off Coinbase Pro so we can get to Fibonacci retracements. But looking at the hourly chart, for example, there's a hammerhead candlestick, which might mean that it's at the bottom and about to pivot and go back up. But who on earth knows? We're not trading on short term. We're trading on long term. So we're not buying and selling. We have done a little bit, actually, to be fair, but we could see where the top of the market was clearly, because we were doing Forex for a couple of years badly. But we could see where the top of the market was on SHIB. So that's why we sold, and then we rebought in, and it's dropped another 7% since we bought back in. But where's it going to be? I have no idea. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll catch up with you soon. My name's Dan Latto. Take care.